Take the bass line out. Jiggle.
Bounce with it.
Yeah.
Let it bump though.
What is happening, guys? It is Thanksgiving week. It is pretty nice weather out here in Tampa. We are doing a broadcast today. I am having one of those days where you are just like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to bed and call it a night. This is how my day started. Thanksgiving week, and I'm trying to be grateful. And the music, Hard Knock Life, these are like first world problems that I have. But the way the week starts off for me is I'm taking the garbage out last night, rolling this thing out, on wheels. I can't lift anything. I got still all these restrictions. I'm rolling out the garbage can, and there's like a couple weeds right by my lawn as I'm walking to put the garbage can at the end of the driveway. I grab those couple leaves and I throw them on the top, into the garbage can on top. So I wake up this morning to the garbage truck coming through, and I have literally seen this dude in the Hillsborough County garbage pickup. They have like this auto machine. Basically, the truck pulls up, grabs your can, flips it up into the truck, then the truck flips it into another truck. It gets compressed. I mean, everybody knows how a garbage truck works. This dude has grabbed my garbage can before and gone to flip the can into the truck and spilled garbage all over, like a total mess, like shit all over my driveway. Never gets out of the truck once, ever, to pick something up he dropped, to nothing. Drops the can back down and on his merry way. Seen him do it multiple times. Never. Lazy motherfucker never gets out of his car to do shit. Today, he's writing up some ticket on my garbage can and wrapping it to the can, and I come out to saying, what's going on? And he's not talking. He's ignoring me. He's like standing I'm right in front of me, and I'm like, hey man, what's happening? Like, why aren't you taking my garbage? He's like, well, we don't take yard debris. And I'm like, yard debris? I'm like, here, look, I'll take it out and I'll put it on the ground. And I grabbed the couple little things that were sitting on top of the garbage bag, took them out, put them on the ground by my curb, and I said, here's the can. I already wrote it up. And I'm like, happy Thanksgiving, bro. Appreciate it. Your little power of the world. You got me. I'll just put it out on Sunday. But it's just annoying. Like, I've literally witnessed you throw shit all over my yard, and you wouldn't get out of the car to do anything. But this, to write me up because you don't want to take a couple of weeds, like vine type things, because they're sticking out of the garbage can. So I picked them up, picked the weeds up, pulled the garbage can in, and literally pulled out the hefty bag, dropped the weeds in the can, and put the hefty bag on top of it. So now he's just going to take it Sunday. And it's just annoying. It's just stupid stuff like that, it would happen. So then I go and do that. And then part of the other thing I do is, I've said here before, my dad lives with us, and like stuff like his prescriptions, and I'm running errands and doing all this other stuff. And, I'm taking care of that. And I get back and I'm like, come on, Lucy, let me take you outside to go to the bathroom. And like, there's water just rolling from my yard into like where we live, right off a wildlife preserve. So there's water rolling into the preserve through the whole length of my property. I'm like, oh man, what's going on now? So I go and I look, and it turns out that there's just water gushing through my mulch. So I call the water company. I'm like, I have a leak, and the woman's, woman did one of these deals where you call and you're like, Hillsborough County Water, my name is, can I help you? And you're like, what's your name? Like, not like one of these offshore things. Like, I worked in a call center, and you'd offshore certain stuff, and you would tell people who were on the offshore team, like, to use an American name, so it's understandable, easy for the customer to identify. You call overseas and you get, hi, this is Bob, how can I help you? And the guy's name isn't Bob. It's tough to pronounce, so they just Americanize it. This isn't that. This is a girl who's not good at her job, works in the county, doesn't want you to have her name because she's about to screw up whatever she's going to do for me. Something's going to get screwed up, or she's going to be a bitch, and I'm already in a bad mood because of the garbage that we've already talked about. So I said, listen, I need somebody just to come out and shut off my irrigation system because they won't let me touch. I'm not allowed to touch it, right? So she said, well, sir, we can't do that. And I said, well, I know you can do it. I've seen you've done it before. You've done work on my house before. You guys messed up my line before and tried to shut off just the irrigation. You can't send somebody out just to do that. So, well, if I send somebody out, it's a $40 priority call and we have to shut everything off. So I'm like, well, first off, all right, $40 is $40. I don't care about that necessarily because the water bill is going to be $300 if it's running for days. But I can't just turn the water off. You know what I mean? For me, if it was like when I was a kid, I could go 3 days other than using the toilet. I mean, so what? I don't have water. I could work around it, whatever the deal is. I mean, I could literally live off Diet Coke and I wouldn't even need a faucet. Just have one of those fountains installed and I would be good. But again, I need water for that. So she, so I'm like, well, screw it. I have to do this. But before I called her, I called this sprinkler company that I've used before, but he wasn't available. So I called the water company, go through this whole thing. And then as soon as I get done with the lady at the water company, now who has set my priority appointment up, the guy at Azo calls me back and says, hey, what's going on? I explained to him. He says, listen, go turn this off, and I can be there tomorrow to look at it. And I'm like, okay. So I did what he said, turned it off, and it did. It shut the water from running, like, flowing like an open drain to just like whatever's trickling in the pipe. Water was still coming out. So he said, listen, let me drop what I'm doing. I'll come over there and take care of it for you right now. So this is the shout out. If you live in Corey Lake, if you live around Tampa, Azo Lawn and Sprinkler Specialists, AZO, 813-380-7990. There's his card. There's the company. Okay, I'm telling you right now, showed up within 30 minutes of explaining to me what was going on with the water, told me what he needed to do, and I was just out there. It took him less than an hour and a half. My mulch looks like it was freshly put down. Like he redid everything solid, and he was reasonably priced. People come to this neighborhood, they don't realize I'm broke. They think because they come through a gate in my neighborhood that everybody's flowing with money, and a lot of contractors do hit people up like that because you live in a neighborhood that happens to have a security gate. They're like, oh, these people must have money, so their rate gets jacked up. He didn't do that. He doesn't realize that I'm just broke. And, he still gave me a good deal on the price and took care of it for me. So starting off my day with water flowing through the yard, the garbage can incident with my weeds, and then we get to my Frontier cable. Now, I have cable through Frontier. Generally, it hasn't been bad. It really hasn't been bad. Except recently, like in the last week, like my box wasn't working, the guide wasn't working, all this stuff. And just so you guys understand the situation with remotes in this house, okay? We have a cable remote. I'm trying to think if I have one here. I have, well, it's similar to something like this, like like one of these big giant remotes. We cannot use that remote control for the cable company for my dad. My dad has a remote that literally has 6 buttons on them. 2 of them are the volume, the other 2 are the channel, and the other 2, I think, are source or something like that. Because if not, we get pay-per-view ordered by accident. We get all sorts of stuff. So as a precaution, we have this special remote. It's cable. So I'm talking to somebody, and they're like, well, why don't you just go on Hulu and use Hulu? Getting my dad to figure out that giant remote is one thing. I finally got it down to the 4-button remote. Now I'm going to give him a Fire Stick remote with Hulu on it, or even worse, going back to like the new Samsungs have everything built into like this deal. So, like this bad boy, it has like the home button right on it and the whole works. I mean, trying to explain that to him, I might as well be the remote control. I might as well just sit in the room with him and say, what channel do you want? Like when I was a little kid. Like when I was a little kid, you had the cable box, there was no remote. The cable box was that box that they gave you at Cablevision. It was like a square box, like a little jewelry case. It had like a beige wire that came out of it. It had a little white It had a bunch of numbers on it, and then like a little white thing that clicked, and that was your channels. And it would be, and if you know, if you were fancy, you had like a giant cord, so you could actually sit near the couch and change the channel and go like click, 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 click through all the channels, and then you get, you know, you get your local, and then you get all the other stuff. So like that was remote. So like that's right now I'm working off this deficit here. I got him onto my Hulu account, but I have to set up stuff in the my account stuff that he likes so that he can get to that stuff. So Frontier, now the guys at Frontier, I call tech support. I'm like, this is what I got going on. So the guy starts to go through the whole tech support thing. Now, anybody who's ever worked for a company or dealt with any type of tech support knows literally the first question you always get asked is, did you reboot the system? Yeah, dude, I rebooted the system. I rebooted it. I shut everything down. I brought everything back up the same, like the way it's supposed to. I unplugged it from the wall. I literally spent an hour and 20 minutes with you guys on the phone a week ago when all this stuff started to hit the fan. So he starts to go through the motions again with me. Now, again, clearly I'm already between the garbage guy, the water situation, which worked out okay, and then now I'm on it with this guy, and he's basically giving me the rundown of what he needs to do. So finally, I just stop him. I'm like, bro, listen, I don't work for Frontier. I can't be your on-site eyes and ears tech support. I have 4 cable boxes in this house, and 2 of them actually work, but there's no guide. So I got an old guy who doesn't, not only does he have a tricky remote, he doesn't have a guide that works. He's basically flying blind. I can't have this. I cannot have this situation. So I'm like, let me stop you right there. I need a tech to come out. I need you to do whatever. And he gives me the whole rundown. You know, well, if it's your wiring, it could be cost money. If it's us, it's not charged and whatever. Now, what we did when we moved here is I kind of smart homed it. So initially, I fought it for the longest time. I was like, you know what? I'm not getting Alexa. I'm not getting Google because they're listening to everything you say. I mean, you guys know. You talk about, oh, look how nice that new Chevy is on, you know, while you're watching TV with no other devices, and then the next thing you know, you're getting Chevy ads on your phone. So everybody knows that the stuff's, you're getting listened to. You're getting the cameras on your computer. The cameras, this is probably logged into the NSA somehow. It's all being recorded. So I literally gave up, and I set it up to the point where now I have Alexa do just about anything. Like, hey Alexa, who was the first president of the United States? Oh, we're not going to do that right now. We're not going to track Amazon orders on a podcast. So I got Alexa hooked up to everything. So now I know this guy's going to come in and be like, listen, man, you know, the box it's not an issue with the box. It's an issue because you have some Wi-Fi thing set up or whatever. And then I might just end up canceling all of it because I really don't need it. I mean, I watch like 3 shows, and sports. So it's not like I need a big giant library. I need one box for the old guy to have something. His only hobby is watching TV and watching them rebuild or flip homes, watching how they invaded, you know, watching Hitler's greatest mistake, invading Russia in the winter, and like all these documentary type things that he's into. But, you know, got to have it for the guy. I can't not have it for the guy. So then I get all that going on, and then I'm flipping through while I'm on hold for Frontier. I'm flipping through the channels, and then I notice I might be the only person who knew this existed, but there's a sequel to The Sandlot. Has anybody watched this movie? Why would you make a sequel to The Sandlot? That movie is as perfect of a movie as you can get, and they made a sequel to it. I mean, I get I get making sequels. I'm not an anti-sequel guy. I mean, some just shouldn't be made, but like, I mean, I get the Rocky franchise. I mean, obviously, I get the Godfather, and I mean, that sequel is better than the original. So I'm not a whole anti-sequel guy, but The Sandlot. I mean, really, like, who wants to see 10 years later when the great Hambino is working at Burger King for $3 an hour? And has can't lose weight, or one of I mean, they gave you the whole story recap of what happens to all the kids at the end of the first one. So I don't even want. I mean, maybe it's a totally different thing. I don't know. I just saw it on the guide and got frustrated because on top of all the other stuff that happened today, they made a sequel to one of the greatest movies that you could possibly ever want to watch. So I have no idea from day to day where I might get any kind of show stuff. I mean, look, this is literally just my day today. I have no idea. I got this one. That is literally, I mean, this dog has the life. He's sound asleep. But I'll tell you, if I got up and left the studio, he would immediately follow me to wherever I was going, and I'd be like, buddy, I'll be right back. I say to him every time, bro, I'll be right back, just stay here. Follow me to wherever I go, come back, and he's right back in that position. If I mean, I don't know, it's like he's able to turn it off his day. So like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at him laying there sleeping, content as can be, and I'm like, I had all this shit go on today already. It's literally 20 after 2 in the afternoon. The day is barely got started, and this dog can turn everything off and it's like carefree. How great would that be? I mean, I'm sure they make some medications, but I don't want to be institutionalized. I want to just I want to be able to not want to kill the garbage guy or the water people or the cable company. But with all that said, it's Thanksgiving week. We don't really travel for Thanksgiving. It's tough to travel with my dad. We can't do it's tough to do airports and stuff. We could do like short trips, but we spend Thanksgiving, the actual day Thanksgiving, at my sister's house. She cooks. She cooks. I mean, we did Thanksgiving there last year. She made every item for Thanksgiving dinner except my wife made one dish, and we asked my dad or my mom, one of them, after dinner, what was your favorite thing? And they all picked the one dish my wife made. And my sister-in-law was like, "What the fuck? I did all this stuff, and I didn't even get an Attagirl on one of my things." But she cooks Thanksgiving, and then we do have an actual holiday party that we have here, and we have some family coming in. My niece and my nephew from New Jersey, and some friends that are all in Tampa at this point. And we're trying to do this before we get to a point where everything kind of shuts down again, or if they say it's going to shut down again. I don't know. I'm trying to live my life and not get caught up in what might happen here and there. But it is definitely interesting where show material comes from. I'm sure I'm going to do a ton of stuff once I'm able to get back in the gym in a couple months with Pope. He's a maniac. I mean, like, if you've ever seen Pope's videos, the guy's an absolute maniac. That's going to be show material. Like, I could literally have a whole show on this big 6'3", 280-pound monster and his chihuahua. Like, that could be a show. But he's definitely going to be source material for this podcast. But yesterday I'm talking to my sister and I'm asking her like questions. I'm thinking like, what would be funny shit that, to do like on the show, or like just practice questions of stuff I could ask people. So I said, if you could hang out with a celebrity, who would you hang out with, and then why would you hang out with them? I mean, there's a million things. Like for me, I mean, I could easily hang out with go out with like could you imagine like just hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio for a night? Not to do anything crazy, just see what I mean, it would be wild if all he did was sit and watch Chicago PD like I do, but I don't think he does that. I mean, I think he lives in an alternate universe where it's private jets and supermodels. But it would be interesting just to see day to day what it would be like. What would they do? What would you want to do to hang out with them? to see like if their personality of the facade matches any real life thing. Like I said to her, for me, everybody talks about how competitive Michael Jordan is, right? Like how competitive this guy is. I'm thinking, how funny would it be to have a podcast where there's a checkers board and like a poker and like a folding table, and it's the checkers are red and black. The Bulls wore red and black. Michael Jordan comes out, full Bulls uniform. They play that music, announce him as he's coming out to the table, and I play him in checkers. And then when I beat him, watch him flip the table. Like chess, I couldn't beat him at, but checkers, I got a shot. Like I can't beat him in basketball. I can't beat him in golf. Generally, in anything in life, I couldn't beat him. He's ultra competitive. Could you imagine just kicking Michael Jordan's ass at checkers? And when he flips the table, you just sit back and kind of, like the Kenny Rogers, the gambler, is like playing in your head as you're just kicking Michael Jordan's ass at checkers. So I asked her. I said, seriously, who would you hang out with and why? So she says, one of their go-to, Chris Hemsworth. So, and my sister-in-law, she doesn't need a hall pass. I mean, she could date whoever she wants to. If Chris Hemsworth's available, she has that ability. My wife has a hall pass. My wife's hall pass is generally a Hemsworth, any Hemsworth, Mark Wahlberg, Bradley Cooper, and I think Ryan Reynolds. She's got a couple on the hall pass. I mean, she's got a good hall pass. I got to give my wife credit. You're going to make a hall pass. The girl, she did it right. I mean, and I get it. When you have filet mignon at home, it's tough to find something to hall pass that's going to one-up it. I get it. I understand all that. But I said there, why would you hang out with Hemsworth? Figuring, it's going to be like, well, I can hang out with Thor for the night or whatever the whole thing is. And she said, well, no, he could teach me to surf. And I'm like, You want to know how to surf? We where did that come from? And B, how do you know he can surf? And that's going to take more than a night. That's a bigger investment than the whole premise of the question. Her response was, he's Australian, all Australians surf, and I could pick it up quickly. So that was my Sunday afternoon of that. And then waking up to today's stuff, that is definitely family. That is definitely crazy. It is one of those weeks where it's a short week for everybody that's got stuff going on. Me being a house husband, the work never stops. I mean, I have laundry to do, I have dogs to feed, and I have other obligations around this joint that I need to take care of. But for today, after all the shit that went on, after all the things that are going on in the crazy world that we live in, it's just good to sit on here. It's like thinking about the silly shit that goes on in your day. It's not that bad. I mean, there are way worse things that could be going on in my day-to-day than the lazy garbage man who doesn't want to take some weeds in my garbage can. Like, I could have a lot worse stuff going on. So if you got something going on for the holidays, if you are going to be seeing family and friends, if you're going to be partying and indulging, be safe, have a good time, and we will definitely have some stories, I'm sure, from our Thanksgiving. And we're going to try to do a Tuesdays with Tommy this week. It's a short week, but I want to get my dad back on, get him talking about something. If anybody's got if you've got source material that you think I can use to have a conversation with my dad, people who know him from like when we were growing up, and you think you want to hear a story that something he might have done or whatever, please, I am all ears. Welcome to actually suggestions to get him kind of talking about stuff that he digs, because I'm trying to keep his mind as active as possible, because he definitely can get caught up in stuff and not really maintain the conversation. So we do have a show email address. It's norm16w@gmail.com. norm16w@gmail.com. If you have any show suggestions, if you live in Corey Lake and you need sprinkler work done, do not hesitate to call Azo's Lawn Sprinkler Service, 813-380 7990. Guys, have a good one. Keep coming. We'll be here sometime this week. Catch you later.